Your teacher today is Dr. Bosa, Science. Dr. Bosa is a teacher at the Science Foundation College, the best school that teaches sciences. Today, we are going to study UACE Geography, Paper 2. The topic is tourism in the world. Tourism is a social, cultural, and economic phenomenon which entails the movement of people to countries or places outside their usual environment for personal, business, or professional purposes. Tourism in selected countries. California. Tourist centers include Los Angeles, San Francisco, Stockholm, and so on. Tourist attractions include coastal landscape, drainage features, wildlife, desert climate and vegetation, beaches, mountains, canals, rivers, film industry, irrigation schemes, and so on. South Africa. Tourist centers include Cape Town, Johannesburg, South Coast at Durban, East London, and so on. Tourist attractions include mountains such as Drakensberg or Karlos, coastal landscape, drainage features, wildlife, desert climate, and vegetation. Switzerland. The Swiss tourist industry is very well developed and it is a major foreign exchange earner for the country. The major tourist attractions include relief, the Alpine region with snow-capped mountains and glacial features such as pyramidal peaks and Swiss plateau. Drainage features such as Lake Geneva, Constance, and rivers such as the Great Rhone River, and so on. Vegetation comprising of alpine vegetation, varied climate such as Mediterranean, mountain, and so on. Adverse cultures such as English, German, French, and Italian. Kenya has one of the most developed tourist sector in East Africa. It receives over 1 million visitors every year. It is the highest foreign exchange earner. Major tourist attractions in Kenya include well-stocked game parks such as Tsavo, Masai Mara, and so on. Historical sites such as Fort Jesus, Gendi, Mombasa historical route or slave trades, and so on. Opportunities for ornithology, including bird watching, and so on. Beautiful relief features such as the Eastern Rift Valley, active volcanoes, Turkana volcanic island, local deserts of lavas near Lake Turkana, and so on. Drainage features such as the Indian Ocean and associated features like Mombasa coral reefs, and so on. Varied unique Africa vegetation such as mangrove forest at the coast of Mombasa, mountain vegetation along mountain Kenya, and so on. Tropical climate such as sunshine throughout the year that promotes sunbathing at Mombasa, Nairobi, and so on. Diversity of languages such as English, French, Swahili, German, Arabic, and so on. Tourist centers in Kenya include Mombasa, Nakuru, Nairobi, Eldoret, and so on. Tanzania is the largest country in East Africa, with Indian Ocean as one of its borders. Tourist attractions include historical sites, wildlife, relief features such as mountains, lakes, rivers, vegetation, and so on. Major tourist centers in Tanzania include Dar es Salaam, Arusha, Dodoma, Tanga, Kilimanjaro, and so on. Factors that favor development of tourism. Presence of well-publicized historical resources such as museums, forts, castles, local paintings, scientific work, automotives in towns, and so on. Presence of flourishing unique industry or project, for example, filming industry at Hollywood, irrigation schemes, inland water transport, and so on. Presence of well-developed and efficient transport facilities such as airport, cables, roads, railways, with the fastest train that transport tourists. Presence of high accommodation and eating centers. High level of hospitality favors tourism. Availability of capital to invest in the tourist industry, such as construction of hotels and recreation centers. High level of advertisement or publicity of tourist attraction resources. Favorable government policies such as preserving or protection of tourist resources and investing in security. Unique culture such as people with different culture and colors. Efficient banking system promote easy transaction in tourist industries in different forms of currencies. Availability of many international languages spoken, such as French, Spanish, English, and so on. Presence of affluent class of people that can pay for tourism services. Presence of multiple recreation centers for sports and entertainment in cinema, discotheques, international music performances, and so on. Organization of favorable tour packages from different countries, including visa applications, hotel booking, and so on. Political stability that allow longer-term investment in tourism. Modern technology that enable online hotel booking, flyover, recreation centers such as amusement parks, gambling centers, and so on. Existence of skilled labor in the tourist industry such as transporters, guides, managers, and so on. Favorable climate such as winter and summer. Presence of a variety of relief features such as mountains, rivers, lakes, plateaus, and so on. Varied vegetation including forests, desert vegetation, and so on. Presence of rich wildlife, including animals, birds, insects, and so on. Strategic location, for example, to access port, airport, and so on. Positive contributions of tourism. It is a source of government revenue. It is a source of foreign exchange through custom entry fees, tourist expenditure on food, clothing, transport, and so on. It creates employment to a variety of people. For example, tour guides, game rangers, waiters, and so on. It creates a market for local products such as crafts, electronics, foodstuffs, and so on. It encourages conservation of tourist assets, for example, wildlife, through gazetting, game reserves, game parks, and so on. It promotes diversification of economic activities. Tourism makes use of unproductive land, such as deserts, for bringing income to marginal regions. Tourism leads to urbanization due to development of tourist hotels, restaurants, financial institutions, nightclubs, and so on. Tourism results into acquisition of managerial and social skills such as administration, languages, catering services to the workers, and so on. Promotes international cooperation, for example, between local countries and developed countries such as USA, France, Canada, and China. Encourages infrastructure development, for example, building of roads and railways to reach tourist sites. Negative contributions of tourist industry. Promotes undesirable habits such as child sex, prostitution, lesbianism, homosexuality, drug abuse, and so on. It encourages poaching to get pets such as mock, chips, parrots to sell to the tourists. It may discourage or undermine development of other sectors like mining and agriculture. It may lead to spreading of diseases such as AIDS, syphilis, and other forms of STDs. An influx of tourists put pressure on local resources like water, electricity, foodstuff, and these may not be enough for the local population. Inflow of tourists is seasonal, and this affects tourist industry and associated service sectors such as hotels, tour and travel agents, because these have to maintain the available idle resources while paying for labor. It leads to development of cities and associated side effects such as congestion, pollution, poor hygiene, and so on. Some tourists are national threats because they may be spies and cause political havoc. Problems facing tourist industry in developing countries. Poaching lead to reduction of major wild animals like lion, elephants, such affecting the industry. Seasonal nature of the tourist industry. There is limited tour and travel agents with organized tour packages in Africa. Language barriers, since there are few international languages spoken in Africa. And less supportive government policy, for example, failure to control or stop poaching, and so on. Poor management skills and limited skilled labor in the form of international chefs, leisure, hospitality specialists in hotels, and so on. Pests and diseases that destroy plant, wildlife, and scare tourists. Encroachment on national parks due to population pressures. Pollution of water bodies, for example, Lake Nakuru in Kenya. Underdeveloped tourist attraction sites such as historical sites, forests without accommodation facilities, catering services have limited the number of tourists coming to Africa. Droughts destroy vegetation and wildlife that would otherwise attract tourists. Political instabilities in developing countries like Kenya limit the number of tourists coming to the country. Competition for tourists with developed countries like France, Italy, Mexico, and so on. Inadequate funding or embezzlement of funds by tourist managers is still a problem in many developing countries. Poor transport and accessibility to tourist attraction is still a problem. Deforestation for agricultural use destroy the habitats for the animals and other tourist attraction centers. Profit repatriation by investors limit capital for investment in tourist industries. Low level of technology. Problems facing the tourism industry in developed countries. Global warming causing melting of ice sheets and avalanches, reducing areas of tourist attractions. Diseases affecting wild animals. Tourist attacks and threats. Competition with other countries. High transport costs, especially in the Alpine region because of the rugged terrain. Global economic recession. Seasonality of tourism activity. Severe winters affecting the movement of tourists. Congestion of tourist sites, especially in the peak season. Overuse of resources like electricity or water, compromising provision of social services. Spread of diseases, for example, AIDS to people. Limited wildlife than those of African countries. Pollution from industries. Accidents due to slippery roads and congestion. Thank you so much. If you have liked this video, please subscribe to enable us produce more videos.